Here you go.
You okay? Okay. And welcome to MFSN Fantasy Baseball Waiver Wire and Baseball Talk. There's so much going on, Casey, with fantasy baseball, but also regular baseball. I want to welcome our host, Casey Flat to the Bone, Shinefold. I used to go Flat to the Bone, Casey Shinefold. I like that one better. I don't know why I did it different today, but who knows?
Variety is the spice of life, Ross.
So the big story in baseball, Casey, big story, big. Tampa Bay Devil Rays, they are 10-0. They had their closest game yesterday. Every game they've been winning by 4 or more runs. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, they're 10 games and already 58 run differential between them.
And they won yesterday 1-0. Your guy Lowe had a home run in the 8th inning to win the game for him. I mean, they're playing really good baseball in Tampa, and the odds, they opened up at 22-1 to win the World Series. Now it's down to 12-1. It's not a good bet. I don't think, again, they're having a great April. The Yankees did that last year. You saw what happened to the Yankees. So, Casey, what's your observation on Tampa Bay right now?
Look, we've always known that Tampa Bay just played really sound fundamental baseball. They limit mistakes and they take advantage of your mistakes. I'm a Yankee fan, as you know, and I always count them out at the beginning of the season, like, oh, they're not going to be able to do it again this year, competing with a low budget and all these guys. But heck, I just have to tip my cap. They're just the best team in baseball right now, and they're playing baseball in a way that's just, they're doing it on both sides. They have the number one offense and the number one pitching in baseball. So, tip your cap. They're the best.
I tip my cap, but remember, look at their schedule and who they played the first 3 series. It wasn't the greatest talent. For say, Oakland, Detroit, it wasn't the greatest, but they beat the Red Sox, yesterday. That's a good win. Wander Franco, you and I, the most home runs he's ever had in one season was in rookie ball. He had 11 home runs. That was a few years ago. He's a young guy.
Yeah.
This year he has 4 home runs in like 40 something at bats. I mean, the guy, what do you contribute to his home run hitting? I mean, the guy is killing the ball. I mean, he really is.
Look, Wander Franco was the who's who of prospects of the last 5 years, probably the highest hyped one coming in. They knew that the potential was there. He didn't do poorly last year. He got hurt early on once he got called up, and that might have done something, but he figured it out. He found out how to unlock his power in that swing, and his exit velocities are incredible. So
his exit, you said it. I mean, his exit velocity is leading the league. I mean, if you had a vote for AL MVP, I mean, he would be in the top 5. Yes or no, Casey?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the guy's playing great. Somebody else who had a great game pitching yesterday is Scherzer, the pitcher for the Mets. He pitched 5 innings, didn't give up any runs to the Padres. I don't know if you remember last year, but the Padres shelled him last year in the playoffs. He lost 7-1. He gave up like 6 or 7 runs. Last year, I don't know if you remember last year, they shut him down. They said he was hurt, fake injury, fake injury. I mean, Scherzer, quote me now, Casey, quote me now, but he'll run out of steam in September, October, and he'll get shelled in October during the playoffs. Unless they shut him down earlier.
Yeah, I have a feeling if they're doing well enough, you're going to find them manage the workload of Verlander and Scherzer in the July and August kind of time frame so that they're fresh for October.
I agree. I mean, last year the Padres manhandled the Mets. Last year when it counted, Casey. And I like them, as I told you before. I love the Padre team. I mean, yeah. I like their pitching. I like their hitting. I like everything about them. I think they're playing great ball. Somebody else who I like a lot, and I feel the world's better when like this team does well in baseball. I just feel that everything tastes better. The world is better. Everybody's getting along. It's the Baltimore Orioles when they play well and they're doing well in the standings. I just feel baseball's better. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I went to college at University of Maryland, so I'm familiar with the area. I used to love going up to Baltimore. I was at Maryland when they first opened Camden Yards in the mid-'90s. Brady Anderson all roided out, rollerblading to the stadium every day and hitting 50 bombs. it is a feel-good city. They're a feel-good team. They're kind of an underdog surrounded by behemoths in the AL East. And so, Tampa Bay is a little far removed all the way down in Florida. And, Baltimore is just, they're a feel-good town. When they're playing well, there's not an ego or a I told you so attitude about it. They just love their team. The team loves the city back. It's fun to watch. It's a great stadium to watch a game. I don't think there's anybody who can say they root against the Orioles except when they're playing their favorite team.
And if they can get a couple pitchers by All-Star break, bring a couple big arms in, I think they can make a big playoff run. I mean, I
think they have wild card potential. Adley Rutschman has to be in the MVP voting right now if he's in at this point in the top 10 or
what do you have 5 hits yesterday? I mean,
and that was after opening day when he had 5 hits. Like it's his second 5-hit game of the year.
Yeah.
He pulls out clutch home runs against the Yankees. He hit a home run. It didn't win the game, but it gave him a chance. I mean. And, Gunnar Henderson's not doing anything yet. Once he starts hitting, that's great. They just got Grayson Rodriguez called up. They're Cedric Mullins. You're right. The cat's got to be an all-star right now and is stealing bases. I don't know if he's leading the league. I think Jorge Mateo on his own team steals 2 bases every time.
I think you're right.
He rounds first already running to second. So, but they play a high energy form of baseball. You love watching that. There's no I'm a Yankee fan. I can root for them, but I can also admit that watching them is sometimes really boring because they wait for the home run. They try to get somebody on base and then hope to hit a home run. Get somebody on base, hope to hit a home run. They're not a manufactured team that plays that exciting type of baseball. Baltimore, Tampa Bay, more fun to watch.
I agree, and I think the ball's moving a lot better this year. I think the ball's juiced again. I think Mansfield told whoever makes the balls to tighten them up and make the ball go far. I think that's what's happening this year, and we're seeing a lot of home runs already. Let's talk about your Yankees. You said you're a Yankee fan many times already on the broadcast.
I say it every time.
Now, do you have the alert on Anthony Valpo, your shortstop, who got all the hype during the spring training?
Anthony Volpe
announced the starting shortstop.
Yeah, he was on fire all spring long. Came up.
Yep.
Do I have an alert for him? No, I don't. Look,
he's on your fantasy team.
He's on all my fantasy teams, but
he's in all your fantasy teams. Fantasy teams. Are you benching him? What do you tell?
Right now, I have him on my bench.
Right now with Anthony.
Right now, I would never cut him. I mean, he's
not cut him.
He's still getting on the field every day. When he gets on base, he steals. I think he has 3 steals already this year, but he hasn't started hitting yet. I think, I imagine being 21 years old and trying to live up to the hype of a number 1 prospect starting in Yankee Stadium. It's just, I think he needs to get through this little cold snap. I think you'll start to see him turn it around the end of April, beginning of May, and then he'll go on an extended run. I don't have him starting right now. He's not reliable enough yet to start. But again, I'm not worried about him long term. Imagine if they took that approach with Mike Trout. What was his first cup of coffee?
I said that this season. I said
Aaron Judge, same way.
Aaron Judge, a great example. I mean, all these rookies that come up that have all this hype. I mean, it takes them a while to get adjusted. I've been saying that a long time. I mean, it's just part of life. I'm sorry, that's what happens.
For every Fernando Tatis, there's a dozen Mike Trouts, right? There's, Tatis hit the ground running and was like an MVP candidate as a rookie. Most people, it takes him a couple months to adjust.
I agree. And I love the kid. I think he is, as we see in the Jewish religion, great chutzpah. Chutzpah. And he is the real deal. He can run, he can field, he can catch, he can hit, he can do everything you want out of a shortstop, and he has a great attitude. I love him. I'm rooting for him. I just wanted to hear coming out of your words.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've watched most of his at-bats. It seems and I don't know the statistics per se, and I haven't looked at him, but he seems to be chasing the curveball right now, or the slider low and away. He seems to be too eager to try to hit something, so that he's chasing a little bit. Hopefully he slows down a little bit and lives up to the hype, lives up to the potential that he has.
Now the Cy Young winner yesterday, Sandy helped me with his last name.
Alcantara.
Alcantara.
Yep.
Pitched against the Phillies. For some reason, the Phillies is like kryptonite for him. He gets destroyed by the Phillies, even though the Phillies don't have all their good players. I mean, Harper's not playing. I mean, they're minus a lot of their bats.
Yep. Harper, Hoskins.
Yeah. I mean, those two alone is a big void. So he came in. He gave up a lot of runs. They lost 15-4 or 15-2, whatever it was. I mean, he cannot pitch. They blamed the cold weather. It was 50 degrees. I just think the Phillies are a good team, and I just don't think he can pitch well against them. Because the outing he had before was great at home.
Yeah, I mean,
had a shutout, but
everybody lays an egg, and the Phillies. Yeah. Some teams see pitchers better than other teams, right? Like you can talk about that. You hear the John Smoltzes of the world and all of those kind of former pitchers who are now analysts talk about teams and players who just saw them well and saw the spin on the ball well. Alcantara, the Phillies might just have a good approach and plan that is kind of his kryptonite.
I feel bad. I really feel bad
for Sandy. Revelation.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. He reminds me of Felix Hernandez. Remember Felix Hernandez with the Mariners when he had a really bad team behind him?
He
was pitching these great games and he just couldn't get the win because no one could hit.
What about Jacob deGrom just a few years ago with the Mets when he had a 1.8 something ERA and a losing record?
I mean, Miami. Remember they played where the Dolphins played, and they said, okay, we're going to build a new stadium. We're going to draw more people because we have this brand new stadium. We'll call it the Hard Rock. There are 3 different names in the past 5 years. It's crazy, and all of a sudden, no one comes to the games. They don't know who to blame.
Jose Reyes and all those guys to open the stadium. They had the dancing girls out there.
No one comes, and then they have the WBC event. You can't buy a ticket. It's sold out. I mean, it's like all the Dominican teams are there, all the Latin America teams are there playing. All the games are sold out. So, what does that little experiment tell you? That people want to come and see a good team on the field and support a good team.
Well, I think it's more
not
than
a team not a team that's just put together because of money and because it's cheap.
Yeah.
People don't want to pay for it.
Tampa Bay's proven that you can put a winner out there every year and still nobody will come to see them in certain cities. I don't know if Miami, just because it's kind of a transient sort of city, or that it might not be a baseball town, and they might just have to accept that. The World Baseball Classic obviously brings in people from those countries, and so it's more of an event because it's short term. Over the course of the season, Miami just doesn't pull in. I think you get a lot of transplants down to Miami, so they're fans of other teams, and so they're not Marlins fans, and so unless their team is playing the Marlins, they might not be investing in tickets. It just might not be a baseball town. Go back to Montreal.
Oh, another disaster. Horrible. So let's talk. Last week, I gave some waiver wire pickups.
Yeah.
And it was like, some reason, every name I said,
the IL list.
On the DL. It's like amazing. Like Adam Duvall.
Yep.
Casey, he broke his wrist. I don't know when the guy's coming back. I mean, he's gone. I mean, another guy, Mitch Garver.
Yep.
A male prostitute. He's on the DL. I mean, I was just like, I look at my team and all of a sudden there's all these red marks next to players' names that I picked up or I drafted. And it's just O'Neill Cruz, he was over 60% on and talked to him, but you and I both love this kid.
Yeah, it's sad.
The Pirates
are
one
of those ones that are exciting to watch, and to not have him is a.
I watched it live actually, and I saw when he broke his ankle. A fight broke out because they thought the catcher was trying to be cute with him and all that. The catcher didn't know he broke his ankle. I mean, no one would be that mean that would go do that. There's nobody like that at all. And I was watching, they were playing the White Sox, and O'Neill Cruz, when he went down, I knew he broke the ankle. I mean, you just saw it in his face.
Look, you mentioned the White Sox. AJ Pierzynski, who was a catcher for a number of years for the White Sox.
Yeah, and he was a announcer too. He's actually pretty good.
Yeah, he's a good announcer, but he was kind of one of those personality types who might have taunted you if you got hurt. Like, he likes to ruffle feathers. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad. So, I mean, it's been already 2 weeks in the season. We already have some major injuries going on.
Yeah.
Don't you think? So let's talk waiver wire. Let's talk the catcher position. Who do you like to pick up this week?
Well, it's interesting. When we were doing our live, one of our drafts, maybe it was the MFSN draft, I mentioned a catcher that for Dan to draft, and he didn't take him. I said, by the end of the year, he's going to outperform whoever you take. And that was Logan O'Hoppe in Anaheim. This guy was one of the prides of the Philadelphia system that went sent over in the Brandon Marsh trade. And right now, I mean, he's proving why he was a prospect.
He's hitting 250. He has a lot of RBIs. He's
3 home runs, 9 RBIs, and only 28 at bats, 7 home runs,
Yeah.
In 28 at bats, he's got 3 home runs. And, with their starting catcher, I'm blanking on who it is, injured for the foreseeable future. This guy's not going anywhere. And he's only 41% rostered. He's probably a top 6 or 7 catcher right now.
I watch him play here in Los Angeles, and I agree with you. I think he can hit. He has a great arm. He throws people out. I mean, he's really good. Yes, I think if you need a catcher, he'll be one of the top 3 picks. Somebody else I like plays for Colorado, and he's hitting 303 right now. He only has 1 home run, but that will change when it gets warmer in Colorado. Is Elias Diaz?
Yeah, Elias Diaz.
Elias Diaz. I mean, we talked about him last year, and he gets the majority of the starts in Colorado. He can hit. He's not going to hurt you with his bat at all. And he's like under. He's over 80. He's like, you can pick him up. I think it's under 20% ownership for him. And another guy that's a Cleveland Indian who's having a great start of the season. He's more of a streaker. I don't know if he'll be keeping this up, but it's Mike Zunino and Zunino, Italian. I think he's hitting 320, and he is, that Cleveland team is very dangerous. They have a lot of great hitters on that team. And again, if you need help at the catcher position, any 3 of these guys are going to help your team. I mean, they really are. I just don't, it just depends who you want to drop. Don't drop somebody who's just slumping. As we discussed, it's, people, don't have any patience when it comes to bad hitters, and they just want to get rid of them.
And I know he had a bad year last year, but Yasmani Grandal has been fantasy relevant in years past. And right now he's playing pretty well, batting 300.
Yep. On a good team
every day, on a good team, in a good ballpark for offense. Yep. So you can do worse than him as well.
Well, let's go to first base. We talked about the Marlins, and one of the guys that's actually hitting pretty well is Garrett Cooper. It's not Gary Cooper, it's Garrett Cooper, and he has 3 home runs. He has 8 RBIs. He's hitting over 388, I think. He's doing terrific for the Marlins right now. I don't know if he'll keep that up, but again, the first base position has a lot of great hitters, and we talked about this many times. But if you need somebody utility and Garrett Cooper's available, what do you think about that pickup?
Yeah, I like Garrett Cooper a lot. I mean, this is a guy who came into the league with being known as a power hitter. He's gone through flashes in years past where he's put up a bunch of home runs in a short period of time. I don't see why not. Another guy I like, and you might actually not have him at first base. I do, but I have him at first base, but he qualifies at second and third as well, is Isaac Paredes in Tampa Bay. It's not a bad idea to have a piece of that Tampa Bay offense right now. And this guy's batting almost 300, has a couple home runs, 9 RBI, 6 runs scored, and qualifies at first, second, and third, which is huge because second and third are notoriously weak. And so you can pick him up and plug him at any infield position if you have a guy who's hurt or is day-to-day with some sort of whatever. So, and
he's a small guy. I mean, we talked about him last season, and I seen him play a few times. I mean, he's not that big of a guy, but he hits home runs. And he's starting to play almost every day compared to last year where he just played every other day.
Right.
And I agree with you. I think that if you need utility, first of all, 3 different positions is so key, especially with all injuries going on. And, if you have a player that's droppable and you want to pick up somebody, that'd be a great pickup. Somebody else that was hurt throughout a lot of his career is J.D. Davis. He used to be a Met. I don't know if you remember those good old days when J.D. Davis was a Met. He plays in San Francisco now. he's playing every day. He's hitting 370. He has 2 home runs already, and he's so much potential when he came up. I mean, really, he was on the list of everybody being the next big star, and he got hurt. But supposedly he's healthy. And again, the Giants to me is not a good baseball team. Not good, Casey, especially in the West. But again, there's some diamonds in the rough. And I don't know what your thoughts on J.D. Davis are, but what are they?
Look, he was kind of, I think he led the league in hard hits, in exit velocity or hard hit percentage in the last 2 years. He was a third baseman with the Mets. They tried him in left field. It didn't work. San Francisco got him pretty cheap, and he qualifies at first and third, I think, doesn't he?
Yep, 100% right in Yahoo,
so,
first and third base, which is third
base. I'm always a fan of those multi-position guys, and I don't think he's a plug-and-play starter, but he's certainly somebody I would want on my team.
Yeah, again, we're naming guys that if you guys have somebody that got hurt, you need to fill a position in, and you need somebody on your bench even. J.D. Davis, first and third base, it's not a bad pickup. Anybody else at first base?
Anybody else at first base?
I don't really waste much time at first base just because it's so deep.
I still think Spencer Torkelson is worth a look.
Arizona State, yep.
Yep, he's your Arizona State guy. He's only owned in 16% of leagues. He's only batting .235 right now, but he does have 6 RBIs. He's going to play every day. He's got the track record. He's got the pedigree. I think if you have the room on your bench, he could end up outperforming a lot of first basemen. So
you brought up Spencer. He went to Arizona State. Can you name the winners of the Masters that ended on Sunday? What college did the first and second place go to, respectively, go?
Well, John Rahm, I think, went to this Sun Devil place.
Yep, Sun Devil, yep. And second was Phil Mickelson, lefty.
And Brooks Koepka went to, I don't know. They both
Georgia.
went to live.
Yeah, but Brooks didn't finish second. It was Phil Mickelson.
They were tied
52 years old. 52 years old, Casey Scheinfeld.
65 on the final round. Like, hats off to him.
And you know what's crazy? We'll talk about golf real quick. Just really quick, everybody. I'm sorry, but I just have to get off my chest. I watched the CBS coverage of the Masters. I watch it on Sunday. I don't usually watch golf. I really don't. But I love the majors. I love watching them for me. So Mickelson hit a 65. So the head of the PGA decides we're not going to show him hit the ball at all because he plays in LIV. And if you don't know what LIV is, that's the whole thing that goes in Saudi Arabia that all the players left for, and the PGA is furious about it, and they're not giving these guys any respect or any press at all. So Phil Mickelson hits a 65. You just mentioned that, and he didn't get 1 ounce of TV respect at all. At all.
Part of it is because of the LIV stuff, man.
I'm not disagreeing. It's just the world we live in. Second base now, Casey. Who do you like?
Second base. Brice Turang has to be the top pickup, I think.
Tell us about Brice. Rookie. Tell us why you like him so much.
Rookie for Milwaukee. Came up through as a well-known prospect. Power speed guy. Already has 2 stolen bases, batting over 300. 5 runs scored, 5 RBIs. Qualifies at second and short. May get outfield eligibility because I think he's played a couple games out there. Look, this maybe, he's delivering on what was promised about him. He is a power speed guy. Milwaukee's offense has been one of the more pleasant surprises of the baseball season.
I agree.
So far.
I did not expect them to be good at offense.
They were not supposed to be this home run happy and this run scoring happy. They were a pitch and manufacture kind of team. So, and Turang is moving up in the batting order pretty consistently now. I think he's in the top half of the batting order, and he's got the skills to get on base, to move himself around the bases if he can with steals, and then he's scoring runs. So,
and then another one I like, he's hitting 308, I think, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, is Nolan Gorman of the St. Louis Cardinals. They're playing in Colorado this week. If he's available and you can pick him up, do it, because Colorado is a very easy place to hit home runs and hit doubles and triples and anything else. So I like him. Anybody else at second base you like?
I like, what's his name?
Oh, yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Luis Rengifo Anaheim.
Yep.
Let me
I
just-
like him too, but I just don't like his batting average. But tell me
No,
about
his batting average is low, but he qualifies second, third, and short. He's
Right.
getting consistent playing time. It's early in the season. This guy is a historically 270, 280 hitter, if not higher. So his batting average is a little unlucky, I think, right now. He can steal some bags. He's going to score a lot of runs. You're batting in front of Mike Trout. You're batting in front of Shohei Ohtani. It's just a good spot to be in. And he qualifies at all three, other than first base, the other three infield positions. And you can move him around. He's going to play pretty consistently. I like him.
If Anaheim had a bullpen and two new starters, I think they would be a playoff team. But they just don't have the bullpen or the two starters. Then two more starters that are needed. I like Sandoval, of course, like Ohtani, but after that, it's a pretty good drop off. Suarez got destroyed last night. I liked him before he got destroyed, but again, Anaheim. Again, I live in LA. I think they could win maybe 80 games. We'll see. I'm up and down on it every other day. Anybody else at second? I'm gonna go to
the only other one is actually he's playing shortstop right now, but he qualifies at second. But since second is much worse, it's Orlando Arcia. Everybody talked about Vaughn Grissom at the start of the season and how he's kind of such a good prospect, but he got sent down mostly because of attitude. It sounds like. And Orlando Arcia was given the shortstop job, and all he's done, he qualifies at second, short, and outfield, and all he's done is bat .341, scoring 10 runs, hitting 2 home runs, driving in 5.
What's his ownership? It's not over 60.
It just went up to it's up to 65 now. I apologize.
Okay, that's
why it was 58 when I made the list. So
no, I believe you. I'm just telling you, it's like everybody in the world's picking that guy up, and it's just amazing how when I saw it was at 61. But now it's gone up. I mean, it's going up every day. Kind of like what happened to Adam Duvall when I told you about Adam Duvall. It was like 10%. Now he's at 74%.
I know. Now he'll be back to 10.
Yeah. Well, people put him on. Well, how long? I don't even know how long he's out for. So at shortstop, I only took one shortstop, and I think it qualifies at a couple positions. Is Ha-Sung Kim, Korean from San Diego.
Yeah.
Last year he was really consistent, and he played a lot during the playoffs. And I said to myself, if they give this guy a chance to play every day, he'll be a 290, 300 hitter. He'll steal like 20 bases, and he can probably hit about 15 or 20 home runs. And so far this season, he is hitting 286, and he has 2 home runs. So I like this kid. He has great personality. He's very consistent. He's not going to hurt your batting average at all on your team. And he qualifies, I think, at second base and shortstop, right? Maybe outfield even. I mean, he plays a lot of positions.
Yeah, he plays all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, they have him everywhere. But anybody else at shortstop you like that's under 60%?
No, I mean, Bryce Terang, I mentioned, Rengifo, I mentioned. Some of these guys play multiple positions. So,
that's why I just had Ha.
So,
third base, who do you like? I got 2 guys. Who do you like?
Who do I like at third base?
Somebody's like agent, and everybody's like, why is this guy retiring? And he was an incredible player in college. It was unbelievable. He's hitting .412, 2 home runs. Evan Longoria for the Diamondbacks, right? Is that who he plays for now?
Yep.
And I mean, this guy was almost out of baseball. I mean, he was released, and he was signed. He was released. I mean, he's been bouncing around, and he's always been a great hitter. I mean, I don't remember this guy back in the day, but when he played for Tampa Bay, remember how great he was?
He was the best. I kept trying to trade for him when I had when somebody in our league had him. I just kept trying to get him, but I never could.
So again, Evan Longoria, he's having a resurgence. Casey, what do you think? Would you pick him up and start him at third base if you needed to?
I don't know if I would want him to be my starter, but I would certainly like him as my depth.
I heard that first. Casey would take him. Who else do you like at third base?
I really like Patrick Wisdom in Chicago. I mean,
Patrick Wisdom, that's a guy we talked about so much last season. Remember, like every waiver wire show, Patrick Wisdom, and we could never get him over 60%. Never.
First, third, and outfield. He's at 51%, so he's climbing.
Okay, he's at 51. He's getting there. He's getting
3 home runs. 3 home runs at 276 average.
Yeah.
And then you have Josh Rojas, who's a different kind of player in Arizona. He's getting a majority of the bats at third base right now. He also qualifies at second. He's batting 407 with 5 runs scored and 2 stolen bases. So
right, but no power. That guy never has
hit
that
for power.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the guy who's gonna carry you to power. He might get to double digits. I don't know, but he's going to steal you 25 bags. He could score you 80 runs, and he's going to bat close to 300. So you could do a lot worse than that.
And he plays for the Diamondbacks. You and I were down on the Diamondbacks at the beginning of the year, and now we talk about their team with Carroll and Rojas.
They're another one who kind of like Baltimore. They're
McCarthy.
Fun to watch, right?
Yeah,
They're
I mean, they have
aggressive.
young talent and old talent, but they do have some good pitchers. I mean, Zach pitched last night, and he looked great. Gallen, he looked unbelievable. But again, they're a team just like I don't know. I just can't figure them out, but they're exciting to watch. Let's talk about outfielders. Who do you like?
Who do I like in the outfield? I like Joey Weimer in Milwaukee. I'm liking the Milwaukee offense. This is a rookie they just called up or just promoted not too long ago. He's another power speed guy. It seems like everybody coming up right now, everybody's realizing that the power speed joint dynamic is very important to players. And he's batting 270, has a home run and a stolen base already, scores runs, RBIs. He's going to get a lot of chances to play because as long as he keeps playing well, but also the health of Milwaukee's outfield when you have Christian Yelich and those guys is not very reliable. And so, so he's somebody I would go with. So here's a question. Blurpy says, do you guys give tips on who to start in a fantasy baseball league? Ross?
That's what we do best, Blurpy.
That's what we like to do. He said he's between 3 pitchers. Well, Blurpy, tell me what 3 pitchers, and we'll see if we can help.
And we can help you. Another outfielder, Blurpy, I like Harold Ramirez. He plays for Tampa. We're telling people to get on the Tampa bandwagon. He plays outfield. I think he plays first base and third base case. Let me know if I'm right. But this guy, I know his batting average isn't that great. It's 250, I believe. He has 3 home runs. But this guy plays every day, and this guy will do really – power numbers will be great. But, yes.
And another
Blurpy,
guy,
let us know.
While we're waiting for Blurpy to give us the 3 guys he's between, I talked about him as a sleeper and somebody target in the preseason, and that's Oscar Colas in Chicago, the right fielder from Cuba. He's let's see how well owned he is. I don't think he's very well owned. 27% owned, but he's batting 306, has a home run, a couple steals. So,
and the White Sox, I predicted them last year in the World Series, and of course I was wrong. But I think the team I predicted last year is this year's team. So that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it depends on Gio.
Dylan Cease pitched yesterday. He looked great. Had a bunch of strikeouts. He was terrific. Here you go, Casey. There's his team.
Okay, I have Bautista and Hader in right now. I also have, I'm assuming he meant Clay Holmes on my bench, but can't play since I have 5 starters going today and only 2 spots left. So you have, let's see, you have the Yankees going against the Indians. San Diego is going against the Mets.
Right.
And the Orioles, who are the Orioles playing? Let me check.
Orioles are playing at home against the they won last night. Who was it?
Man, let me check. Here we go.
It wasn't a good team that they played because my guy Grayson Rodriguez is pitching tonight for Baltimore. Is it Detroit?
I don't know. Let's see.
I don't want to get my phone out, so I'm not going to. Doesn't matter. So I have, and Walker
they're playing Oakland. They're playing Oakland.
Okay, they're playing the worst team. Let me just give the audience a little tip, financial tip, not betting, but financial tip. Anytime you see Oakland playing, you just bet against them. Bet against them.
If I had to pick between the 3. If I had to pick 2, because you're looking for saves, I assume, Blurpy, right? We're not worried about who's going to get them because Bautista and Hader have a better chance for strikeouts than Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes is more of a pitch to contact guy. The Yankees are playing the Guardians. The Guardians are tough. It's going to be a close game. I think it was 3-2 or 4-3.
It was 3-2. The Yankees scored 2 runs against Bieber in the first inning, I believe, and then they couldn't score anymore.
For me, I would probably go Bautista and Holmes and not Hader, because I don't know who's pitching for San Diego to start, but the Mets are clearly the best opponent, I think, of the 3 teams they're playing.
The Mets have Peterson going. He's a very strong lefty. And who's going for San Diego? I just read it. This is all off memory, guys. I'm not taking my phone out, so I don't know. I forgot. It's not Lugo.
Don't do it.
No, I'm not doing it. Okay, I know it's not.
I'll cheat. How's that?
It's not Snell. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I agree with you, Casey. I think you. I don't think you pitch. I think you rest Hader. That's why
it's Ryan Weathers against David Peterson.
Right, Ryan Weathers. It should be a high-scoring game. So, which means there'll be a lot of runs for both teams.
I would probably, if it were me, I know you said Bautista threw 16 pitches yesterday, and then you said I think he's available. 16 pitches isn't a lot as long as he didn't throw back to back to back. So I would probably go Bautista and Holmes personally.
I agree. I love Grayson Rodriguez.
Like, you have 3 stud relievers. Sometimes you're going to make the bad call. If I'm playing the numbers, it would be Holmes and Bautista. But you can't, if you put Hader over either of them, I wouldn't blame you for it either. But Hader coming in to face the likes of
remember, Blurpy, there's 162 games this year. If you make you think 1 or 2 mistakes a year, that's okay. It's okay. It's not going to ruin your season. Everything will be okay. So I think you'll be good.
Is this a daily fantasy league as opposed? I mean, is this like daily fantasy as opposed to like a rotisserie?
David Bednar. I mean,
but they're playing the Astros. Yeah, and Mitch Keller is pitching, and I love Mitch Keller, and I think he's one of those players who's going to step up to the next level this year. But going against
the Astros,
not going against Bregman and Kyle Tucker and first baseman
McCormick, Tucker. I mean, the Astros are stacked.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
not even playing good baseball yet. Wait till
season long. Yeah,
somebody else in the outfield. I'll take a red. Actually, is Jake Fraley, 320 KC Scheinfeld, 9 RBIs in this young season, and that ballpark, as we talked about, is one of the easiest ballparks to hit in for any hitter in the league. So I like Jake Fraley for the Reds. I think the Reds were predicted to come in last. I think they're a team that will just motivated, young gun studs that just want to win. The bullpen's horrible. They lost. They tied the game and took the lead against Atlanta yesterday, then lost with a walk-off by Murphy to lose the game yesterday, which made me sick. But overall, I just like Jake Fraley. I don't think he's going to hurt your team. I think he'll have 25 to 30 home runs, could have close to 90 RBIs. I think it's a good pickup if you do it right now, because he won't be available in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you're right. What up, Uncle Ted?
What up, Ted?
And Blurpy, I'm glad you got 5 great pitchers going today. It's a season-long league. You miss 1 save in the middle of April, and it doesn't affect.
I would lose a wink of sleep, Casey.
Right,
not a wink.
It's a good problem to have, right?
Let's talk starting pitchers. Who has impressed you that's under 60%? I don't want to hear somebody that's like 98%. It doesn't do me good. He's on somebody's team. So what's that gonna tell me? Like Julio Reyes. Oh, he's right. Ross, he's great. He's 3-0, and he looks great last night. I don't care. I don't have my team. I can't pick him up. I don't care. Who do you like? Who should I pick up? Casey, go.
I like Tyler Mahle in Minnesota.
Where he pitched last year? Cincinnati. He looked good. I mean, he looked good for the Reds last year. I like Tyler. No respect.
And then I also like, we'll go into kind of fast forward here. I also like Tyler McGill. I've talked about him before. He's 34% owned in New York for the Mets. He's going against San Diego tomorrow night. 11 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, 2 wins, a 1.18 WHIP, and a 1.64 ERA. That's pretty darn good. So
let me just name some players who are just starting off hot. I don't know if you should pick them up, but talking about Baltimore. God, Baltimore is like Baltimore is the talk of the town. Kyle Gibson is 3-0. His ERA is like 3.44. Not too bad. That's somebody that you would want to pick up on your team if he's available, or you just think it's a fluke?
I'd get a ride the hot hand. So,
okay. Let's talk about Mackenzie Gore. 3-0, 2.38 ERA.
Former number 1 ranked prospect, right?
I mean, you
best
left-handed prospect. You were talking about him. That's all we heard is out of your mouth is Mackenzie Gore last year. That's all I heard.
3 years ago, yeah. And then he went,
I mean, it was Mackenzie Gore this, Mackenzie Gore that, Mackenzie Gore. I mean, I just couldn't get you out of I couldn't get his name out of my mind for weeks. But he's 2-0 right now. Excuse me, he's 2-0. He's pitching in. I know he pitches in Washington. I know they're not a good team, but is that somebody else you're looking at that you would maybe pick up to drop somebody, or what do you want to do with him?
I like him a lot. I like him a lot. Somebody, and it's funny. Thank you, Uncle Ted, for taking my thunder here. But I was going to mention one of my top guys is Bryce Elder, this kid for Atlanta who is just 12 innings pitched, 13 Ks, less than a 1 WHIP, and a 0 ERA. Still hasn't given up an
0. That's my grade point average.
You're right, Uncle Ted. The kid is legit. And you got to ride that.
And guess who pitches tonight for Atlanta, Ted? Guess who pitches tonight? He wasn't pitched yet this season. And who was like the prospect in the Atlanta organization for years.
Soroka pitching?
No, this guy would. You don't know, so I'm going to give you some clues.
Okay.
I can believe he pitched in the 2018 playoffs, and then they made him like a reliever, and then now he's starting with
Ian Wright. Who is it?
Kyle Wright. You're
Kyle
right.
I mean, Kyle
Wright. He's starting tonight, his first start of the year, and this guy loves to strike people out. He's going against my team, but I think he'll do really well tonight. And Wright had 21 wins last year. 21. How many did Casey Scheinfeld have? 0.
Same amount I've had every year.
So, I mean, that's why I'd like Atlanta in the East. I know everybody's talking about Philadelphia and the Mets. I think the Mets will make the playoffs. I don't think they'll win the division. I think it's going to be Atlanta, but you heard it from me first, Cross the Boss. Who else do you like as pitchers, Casey? Please.
Well, I said Tyler McGill. I said Ian Wright. We said Bryce Elder.
Let me give you a couple names that get no respect. And this guy was the ace, I believe, for Boston last year. He was great. And Boston said, we're not going to sign you because we have so many great starting pitchers. Yawn. They don't have any great starting pitchers. If you count Sale as a great pitcher, you're out of your mind. He's too beaten up. Michael Wacha of the Padres, 2-0. His ERAs, I believe, around 3. His WHIP's 1 even.
Yeah, he's just not somebody who's going to go deep into games. He's a 5-inning guy.
He's not deep, but no respect. No one respects him. No one picks him up. No one starts him. No one talks about him. No one cares.
Well, you are.
That's true. And then, somebody I watched on Sunday Night Baseball. I don't know if you had time to watch Sunday Night Baseball. I watched San Diego. They played Atlanta in Atlanta. Seth Lugo, who used to be a reliever.
Yeah, for the
now
Mets.
He's a starter. I mean, this guy has great stuff.
One of the best curveballs in baseball.
I mean, he's 2-0. His whip is like pretty low, and he's pitching great. I mean, his ERA is like under 2, I believe. I mean, again, probably could pick him up. He's not that well respected in any of these fantasy leagues. I like Seth Lugo, and I picked him up in a few of my leagues already. What's your thoughts on him?
I like him. He's been everything from a starter to a swingman to a closer, and he's been. He's never been a stud at any one of them, but he's been successful at all of them. And before he got hurt a couple of years ago, he was the best reliever the Mets had. So, look, San Diego's a good park to pitch in. He's got a good defense behind him. He's got a good offense behind him. He's got a great curveball, so you can do a lot worse.
Let's talk about San Diego real quick. Tatis is coming back. He's in the minors right now playing. He's doing every day we get like reports, home run, 3 hits. I mean, every day he's like destroying the ball. He should be back next week. Is that 20 games? And I mean, what do you expect coming out of him for the rest of the season, Casey?
I don't know.
Great.
I think he's still going to be a top
10,
top 5
fantasy producer.
Top 5 shortstop, definitely. And he's a 40-40 waiting to happen. I don't think the performance enhancing bust was because he was doping to be better than he was. I think the performance enhancing was because he was trying to come back quicker from his injury for his wrist whatever it was.
He was trying to come back quicker. I mean, I just don't trust him. I
don't trust he won't do something stupid.
I just don't trust the guy. I don't want him on my team. I just think he's a walking time bomb. That's me. I mean, I respect him as a player, but just mentally, he doesn't act like a ball player. It's coming from me. He's done a lot of stupid stuff on top of it. Let's talk about relief pitchers. Somebody who has 5 saves, and if you said his name beginning of the season, I would think it's a maitre d' at some restaurant I go to. Pierce Johnson.
Yeah.
4 saves, Colorado. Because we talked about this, their relief pitcher, Bard, has mental problems. Nothing physical, but he's been throwing the ball. He's been doing bullpen sessions. He'll be back soon. But Pierce Johnson, 4 saves. What do you think about picking him up?
Yes, obviously. Anybody who's getting the closer's job, this is when they start to kind of figure out the bullpen. Like Evan Phillips has clear. I mean, he's 81% owned, so I'm not saying he's a waiver wire target unless he's available. Has gotten the Dodgers closing job. I think Pierce has proven that he is the closer for them right now, and they're going to play close games. They're not a team that's going to blow you out. So go for it.
Somebody else that his ERA is horrible, but he is the closer for the White Sox, Ronaldo Lopez. He will be the closer until they're the guy who is cancer free now. Casey, what's his name?
Liam Hendricks.
Liam Hendricks, when he comes back, should be soon, but it's Lopez's job until he comes back. So I'd like that pickup for if he's available in your league to pick up Lopez at least for another month. He'll be getting all the save opportunities in Chicago until Liam comes back from his injury and which is a great story. I'm excited.
Yeah.
But any other relievers? Let's take Blurpy's question. Why don't you read it?
Blurpy's question. He has 2 potential starters at second base. He has Orlando Arcia of the Braves or Andres Jimenez of the Indians. Jimenez faces
Garrett Cole, who's probably the best starter in the American League. Against the Reds are playing Cessa.
No, Atlanta.
Excuse me. Atlanta's playing the Reds.
Atlanta is playing Cincinnati.
And the Reds pitcher is Cessa. 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 I don't know. He's not a proven pitcher.
Andres Jimenez to me is the better of the 2 baseball players, and he's facing a tougher matchup, but I'm probably going to go with the better player. Orlando Arcia is doing well right now, but there's a reason he's on most waiver wires. So
I would start Orlando today just because of.
Well, we disagree on that
just because of the pitchers. The bullpen for Cincinnati is horrible, and the starting pitcher, I think it's their 5th starter going today for Cincinnati. So I don't want to face Cole. I would not want to face Cole today. I just have it. He's going to be he'll be lights out today, at least for 7 innings. So go with Orlando. Trust me on that one.
There you go.
I'm a Reds fan, but their bullpen and some of their pitchers are not major league level. Any other relief pitchers, Casey, until we get out, and then we can.
Is Michael Fulmer owned in?
Fulmer, he's the Cubs. He had a save last week for the Cubs. Before that, he pitched for Detroit.
He's at 40%. He's pitching well. He's got 8 Ks in only 4 innings. So he's also giving you strikeouts in the innings pitched. That would be somebody else I would consider. I don't trust him too much, but when you're looking at saves, go for the guy who gets the saves. So
another one I like is Andrew Chafin of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He has 1 save. His ERA is still 0.00. He looks like the mad Hungarian Ellerboski. I don't remember him, Casey. You're probably too young.
No, I'm too young for that one.
You're too young. But Ellerboski, didn't brush his teeth. He came out looking like a madman. And this guy reminds me of him. I mean, he throws really hard and he has great stuff. It's just the problem in Arizona is how many save opportunities will actually you get during the year, just like all the other bad teams. Like how many save opportunities do you think the Oakland reliever will have? You miss,
Yeah.
10?
Not right.
I mean, how bad is Oakland? I mean, really? I mean,
Well, they're practically a minor league team. That's what doesn't help.
I mean, it's just like I don't even know who you would want to on rostered on from that team. It's sad.
Well, Seth
Nobody.
Brown was rosterable, but he's on the IL now. So
He's on the IL. Another guy on the IL.
So
okay, so Casey, am I missing anybody?
no, I think I mean, Uncle Ted, if you has a lot of ideas. Gavin Stone.
Uncle Ted, if you want to flash some names, now let's say yay or nay. I'd love playing that game.
Gavin Stone.
Gavin Stone, he plays for the Dodgers, I believe. Yes, on Gavin Stone. Yes, he's a huge prospect.
Johan
I like Gavin
Oviedo
Stone.
of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the pitcher there.
I watched him pitch, and he looked great. I like Oviedo, and he had great stuff. He was great. Not a bad pickup.
Perdomo of Arizona plays second and short.
Playing time is my problem with him. I don't know how much playing time he'll get. He splits. But yes, Perdomo.
He says Miles Straw is going to steal 100 bags this year.
Oh, how many does he have so far? He has what's he have, Casey? 8 already or 7?
I don't know. I'll look. Right?
But Miles Straw, yes. I said Cedric Mullins would lead the league in the American League, but I think I might be wrong.
He has 6 steals so far for Cleveland.
And how many does Cedric have?
Let's see.
We'll do a little wager, Uncle Ted. I still like Cedric Mullins to steal more bases.
Mullins has 5.
Yeah.
And then Jorge Mateo. Let's go with.
What's he have? 7?
Mateo has 5. So
he has 5. Okay. So it's pretty close, but Miles Straw, yes. He is
so there you go.
A burglar when it comes to steals. He loves to steal bases, and the only problem with him is getting on base. He's not as consistent as other players, as we just mentioned. But not a bad one. But I'm on the same track as you, Uncle Ted. I love your names you brought up. I just don't have enough room in the show to talk about all the other players.
And unfortunately, we got to wrap up now. So
we got to wrap up now, Casey. I'm Ross the Boss. That's Flat to the Bone.
Thursday, 4:30. We'll be back again, Uncle Ted. Come and give us some more names. We'll talk
Thursday,
about more
4:30. We'll be with the famous. This guy's famous in his own mind, Dr. Dan Ratner. He'll be with us to talk about everything you can imagine. But I hope you guys had a fun time. You guys can always email us. You can always ask questions on our show live. And Uncle Ted, you're the man too. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.